How did the American Civil War actually happen? Part 1. From 1819 to 1861. In 1819, the United States found itself at a pivotal crossroads, grappling with the delicate balance between free and slave states. This period was marked by significant tension as the nation expanded westward, raising critical questions about the future of slavery in new territories. The Missouri Compromise, enacted that same year, sought to address these issues by admitting Missouri as a slave state, while Maine entered as a free state, maintaining an uneasy equilibrium. However, this compromise merely masked the underlying conflicts that would eventually erupt into larger national debates. As we delve into this topic, we aim to provide an engaging and informative exploration of the complexities surrounding statehood during this era, the implications of manifest destiny, the belief that Americans were destined to expand across the continent, played a crucial role in shaping the nation's trajectory. This ideology not only fueled westward expansion, but also intensified the struggle over whether new states would permit slavery. The consequences of these decisions were profound, influencing political alignments and social dynamics across the country. As we navigate through this historical landscape, we will uncover how the quest for statehood intertwined with the moral and ethical dilemmas of slavery, setting the stage for future conflicts. Join us as we unravel the intricate threads of early American history, examining how the balance of free and slave states not only defined the era, but also laid the groundwork for the tumultuous events that would follow. This exploration promises to shed light on the complexities of a nation in flux, inviting viewers to reflect on the enduring legacy of these foundational struggles. The balance between free and slave states in the early United States was a critical aspect of the nation's political landscape, particularly evident in the configuration of 11 free states and 11 slave states by the early 19th century. This numerical parity was seen as a means to maintain harmony within the Union, allowing for an equal representation in the Senate and ostensibly preventing the dominance of either faction. However, this perception of balance masked the underlying tensions that simmered beneath the surface. While lawmakers sought to project an image of unity, the reality was fraught with conflict, as debates over the expansion of slavery into new territories ignited fierce disagreements among politicians and citizens alike. The Missouri Compromise of 1820 was one such attempt to navigate these tensions, yet it only temporarily quelled the discord. As the nation looked westward, the concept of manifest destiny emerged as a powerful driving force for expansion. This belief held that Americans were divinely ordained to spread across the continent, bringing with them their values and institutions. However, this expansionist ideology also exacerbated the existing tensions between free and slave states, as each new territory raised questions about whether it would enter the Union as free or slave. The allure of new land promised economic opportunities, but also threatened to disrupt the fragile balance that had been painstakingly maintained. Thus, the interplay between the ideals of manifest destiny and the stark realities of sectional conflict set the stage for a tumultuous period in American history, ultimately leading to profound consequences for the nation as it grappled with its identity and moral compass. The push for Missouri's statehood in the early 1820s ignited a fierce conflict that underscored the growing sectional tensions between free and slave states in the United States. As Missouri sought admission to the Union as a slave state, it raised alarm among Northern politicians and abolitionists who feared that this would tip the delicate balance of power in favor of the South. The debate intensified as the question of whether slavery would be permitted in the new state became a flashpoint for broader national concerns about the expansion of slavery into new territories. This contentious atmosphere prompted a series of heated discussions in Congress, revealing the deep divisions that existed within the nation. Amidst this turmoil, Henry Clay emerged as a pivotal figure in proposing a compromise to resolve the escalating crisis. Known as the Great Compromiser, Clay recognized the urgent need for a solution that would appease both sides. In 1820, he crafted the Missouri Compromise, which allowed Missouri to enter the Union as a slave state while simultaneously admitting Maine as a free state. This agreement effectively maintained the balance of power, ensuring that there would be an equal number of slave and free states in the Senate. The implications of the Missouri Compromise were significant, as it temporarily quelled the immediate conflict over Missouri's statehood and established a precedent for future territorial admissions. However, it also highlighted the fragility of the Union, as the compromise drew a geographic line across the Louisiana Territory, designating areas north of the 36° 30' parallel as free and those south as slave. While it provided a temporary solution, the compromise ultimately foreshadowed the deeper divisions that would lead to the Civil War, illustrating the complexities of balancing statehood with the contentious issue of slavery. Texas's transition from a part of Mexico to joining the United States was a significant chapter in American history, marked by conflict and ambition. Initially, Texas was a Mexican territory, but discontent among American settlers who had moved there under the Mexican government's invitation led to a rebellion in 1836. The Texas Revolution resulted in the establishment of the Republic of Texas, which sought to gain independence from Mexico. However, the newly formed republic faced challenges, including economic instability and ongoing tensions with Mexico, prompting Texas to seek annexation by the United States. The desire for Texas to join the Union as a slave state had profound implications for the balance of power between free and slave states. Texas was a vast territory with the potential to expand the institution of slavery significantly, raising alarms among Northern politicians who feared that its admission would disrupt the delicate equilibrium established by previous compromises. The prospect of adding a large slave state intensified the sectional conflict, as debates over slavery's expansion into new territories became increasingly contentious. President James K. Polk played a crucial role in this narrative, adopting an aggressive stance on manifest destiny, the belief that Americans were destined to expand across the continent. Polk's administration actively pursued the annexation of Texas, viewing it as a fulfillment of this ideology. His commitment to expansionism not only led to the successful incorporation of Texas into the Union in 1845, but also set the stage for further territorial conflicts, including the Mexican-American War. This aggressive pursuit of land ultimately exacerbated tensions between North and South, contributing to the growing divide over slavery and foreshadowing the tumultuous events that would follow in the years leading up to the Civil War. The Mexican-American War, which erupted in 1846, was fueled by President James K. Polk's fervent belief in manifest destiny and his desire to expand U.S. territory. Polk was motivated by the ambition to acquire California and New Mexico, viewing these regions as essential for the nation's growth and prosperity. The war began after a series of border disputes, particularly following the annexation of Texas, which Mexico still considered its territory. Polk's administration framed the conflict as a means to defend American interests, ultimately leading to significant territorial gains for the United States. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo in 1848 concluded the war, resulting in the U.S. acquiring present-day California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, and parts of Colorado and New Mexico, dramatically reshaping the nation's landscape. However, the acquisition of these new territories intensified existing tensions surrounding the issue of slavery. As the U.S. expanded westward, the question of whether these new lands would permit slavery became a contentious debate. The prospect of new states entering the Union sparked fierce discussions, with Northern abolitionists and Southern slaveholders clashing over the future of slavery in these territories. This discord ultimately led to the Compromise of 1850, a legislative package aimed at addressing the growing sectional divide. The compromise included provisions such as admitting California as a free state while allowing the territories of New Mexico and Utah to decide the slavery issue through popular sovereignty. Additionally, it strengthened the Fugitive Slave Act, which mandated the return of escaped slaves. While the compromise temporarily eased tensions, it also highlighted the deepening rift between North and South, setting the stage for further conflict as the nation grappled with the moral and political implications of slavery in an expanding America. The introduction of popular sovereignty as a principle for determining the status of slavery in new territories marked a significant shift in American political discourse during the mid-19th century. This concept allowed the settlers of a territory to decide for themselves whether to permit slavery rather than having Congress impose a decision. Popular sovereignty was applied to territories such as Kansas and Nebraska following the passage of the Kansas-Nebraska Act in 1854. This legislation effectively repealed the Missouri Compromise, which had previously established a clear boundary between free and slave states, and opened the door for potential conflict as pro-slavery and anti-slavery factions rushed to influence the outcome. The resulting conflicts in Kansas and Nebraska were intense and often violent, as both sides sought to establish dominance in the newly opened territories. Pro-slavery advocates from neighboring Missouri, known as border ruffians, crossed into Kansas to sway the vote in favor of slavery, while abolitionists and free soilers moved in to counteract their efforts. This clash of ideologies led to a series of violent confrontations, culminating in what became known as Bleeding Kansas. The term Bleeding Kansas refers to the brutal and chaotic events that unfolded in the territory between 1854 and 1859, where skirmishes, raids, and murders became commonplace. This period of violence not only underscored the deep divisions within the nation, but also served as a precursor to the larger conflict of the Civil War. The significance of Bleeding Kansas lay in its stark illustration of the failure of popular sovereignty to resolve the contentious issue of slavery, highlighting the inability of political compromises to bridge the growing chasm between North and South. The turmoil in Kansas became a rallying point for abolitionists and a stark warning of the impending national crisis. In this video, we explored the complex historical context and pivotal events that led to the Civil War, a defining moment in American history. We began by examining the delicate balance between free and slave states, highlighting key legislative efforts like the Missouri Compromise and the impact of the Fugitive Slave Act. We discussed the rise of abolitionist sentiment in the North, the formation of the Republican Party, and the significant role of figures like John Brown in galvanizing the anti-slavery movement. The tensions escalated with the Dred Scott decision and the violent confrontations in Kansas, ultimately culminating in the secession of Southern states following Lincoln's election. Understanding this period is crucial, as it not only shaped the trajectory of the United States, but also laid the groundwork for ongoing discussions about civil rights, social justice, and the legacy of slavery. By delving into these historical events, we gain valuable insights into the complexities of our nation's past and the factors that continue to influence contemporary society. We encourage you to engage with this content by subscribing to our channel for more in-depth explorations of American history. If you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up and share it with friends and family who might also be interested in learning about this critical era. Your support helps us create more engaging content and fosters a community of learners eager to understand the intricacies of our shared history. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to bringing you more insightful discussions in the future.